I did a video a while back about mass exoduses from large police departments across the country. And when I did that video, there's an article I found with a quote from the mayor of Columbus, Ohio. His name is Andrew Ginther. He was asked about the mass exodus of officers leaving his department, and his response was, there's a lot of officers who are reluctant to reform. And if those officers want to leave, that's fine. That gives them the opportunity to go be the police somewhere else. I wanted to address that comment for a minute, and I wanted to let everybody know that the reason police are leaving the Columbus Division of Police in the city of Columbus under the leadership of Mayor Andrew Ginther, the reason that the police officers are leaving is because they feel like the city has it out for them and that the city is looking for reasons to screw the officers over, and that their financial stability is in jeopardy because of what this city is doing to them. I have a couple of examples that I'm going to show you that really lay this out. But imagine you're a police officer. You've been doing this job for over 30 years. Not only have you had a spotless record, but your record has been commended day after day. Everywhere you've gone, you've never done the wrong thing. You've always done the right thing. And then when it comes time for you to retire, you find out that there's been some kind of secret investigation into you that's going to screw you out of money in retirement. That's what's happening to officers who have done nothing wrong and are actually exemplary examples for their fellow officers. I have two examples I want to show you today. The first one is going to be, this is going to be about Sergeant Laura Suber. I want to tell you a little bit about Laura Suber. I pulled up Twitter. If you pull up Twitter and you search Laura Suber, you're going to find some examples. So here's a tweet from the Columbus Division of Police on October 21st, 2018. This is a picture of Laura Suber meeting with Max, who had a kidney transplant. She's been a little bit of like the face of Columbus Police for a little while. Here is 2016. It's Suber Day. Congratulations to Sergeant Laura Suber being recognized at Saturday's OSU football game, who is recognizing CPD officers. Here's some pictures of her being recognized for being an excellent police officer at one of the Ohio State football games in 2016. This is her talking about a project to have AEDs out in the crowd during large events. That's another one from 2016. Here on June the 9th, what year is this? Oh, this is June the 9th, 2022. Congratulations to Sergeant Suber on her recent Officer of the Month. So on, what's the date here? June the 9th, 2022, the Columbus Division of Police recognized Sergeant Laura Suber on Twitter for being Officer of the Month. Now, why do I bring this up now? I have a story about Sergeant Suber. I'll summarize it for you, but the city of Columbus and the most recent contract negotiations with the Fraternal Order of the Police, in that contract, they put a buyout plan for the top 100 most senior officers. The buyout, basically what it said is that they're going to go down the list in seniority, and you will be eligible for an early retirement, and you will get an additional $200,000 if you accept this early retirement, as long as you are in good standing and have no pending investigations. So let's see. Sergeant Laura Suber, who worked in the training bureau, had been approved for the buyout list and was scheduled to retire on June 15th. She was going through the process of turning in her equipment and signing the paperwork when she was informed that while she could still retire, she was no longer eligible for the buyout because of a pending administrative investigation. That complaint was part of a 32-page document from Special Prosecutor Kathleen Garber sent to Chief Elaine Bryant on June the 10th, identifying more than a dozen officers she believed could be investigated internally for misconduct during the riots that occurred starting on May 28, 2020. The document was emailed at 5 p.m. on Friday, June 10th, 2 weeks after she issued a statement saying no more criminal charges would be filed against Columbus police officers. So on June 9th on Twitter, the Columbus Division of Police Twitter account posted this image of Sergeant Suber saying, "Congratulations on your Officer of the Month." And then on June 10th, her retirement in good standing was held up due to a letter saying that she was under investigation. What was she under investigation for? The allegations against Suber included complaints that she spoke to a TV station in support of a fellow officer who was charged, and said the investigator, Rich Wozniak, had not interviewed her. So basically what happened was the city of Columbus hired a retired FBI agent who goes by the name of Rich Wozniak to investigate Columbus police officers and their actions during the riots of 2020. You know, when people were burning down buildings and pulling handicapped people out of cars and beating them, the police were being investigated due to their response to those activities by this guy right here, Rich Wozniak. And what Sergeant Suber did is she went public and said, you know what? People under my command are being criminally charged. That person that was being criminally charged is an officer named Tracy Shaw. Tracy Shaw is being criminally charged for spraying mace in a couple girls' eyes as they ran at her. Officer Suber came out publicly and said, I was not given the opportunity to speak. I was not interviewed as part of this investigation. I don't think it was a good investigation. Because of that, her ability to retire in good standing was not allowed. Basically, what the rest of the article says is that there was some scrambling that happened. I think the chief pulled some strings and made it so that she would be retiring in good standing. But Sergeant Suber, what did it say? Just out of conscience, decided not to accept the money. This right here is Sergeant Suber. She was I believe she was the most recent sergeant out at the training academy. Every recruit that Columbus Division of Police has hired in the last decade or so has met Sergeant Suber. She is an example to all officers and supervisors on the division, and she's been recognized as such many times over. I just screwed up my Twitter feed. But she was forced to go through hell, basically, after turning in all of her paperwork and being told that she was good to go, good to retire, all because somebody decided to snowball her with an investigation that she was not aware of, screwing her out of $200,000. Here's another example, and this is because the FOP is suing Columbus Police, saying that they kept a whistleblowing officer from getting his $200,000 in the buyout. The article is here from Bethany Bruner, and I don't know how much I'm going to read or just I want to talk to you about it. But the gist of the story, you may remember, some of you new to the channel may not remember, there were two Columbus police officers, Officer Marco Marino and Kachkowski. I can't remember his first name right now, but these were undercover narcotics officers with the Columbus Division of Police. They were recently, in the last 12 months, arrested, charged, and pled guilty to selling drugs on the behalf of the drug cartels from Mexico. One of the things that happened, I guess I'll step back for a moment. I was curious when this came about, and I'm sure everybody else was curious, how did this information come to light? How did these men end up getting surveilled and charged by the FBI? The answer to that question is a Columbus police sergeant. Where's his name? Dale Serball. He's been with the Columbus Division of Police since 1989. He became aware of this plan between John Kachkowski and Marco Marino, or at least he became suspicious of them. So he began poking around and asking questions. The response from Koshkowski and Marino, they file an EEO complaint against him, which is down here. He sent his concerns up the chain of command when Koshkowski, who had secretly accessed private files on the computer of his lieutenant and found out Serbal was one of the people who was speaking out against him. So they filed an equal opportunity complaint against Sergeant Serbal. That complaint was found to be completely without merit, obviously, because the people who filed it were just trying to slow down the investigation into their criminal dealings. So Sergeant Serbal, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm really bad about that, but he was a whistleblower. He was a good cop. He was a good cop turning in dirty cops. He was a good cop that literally put his life on the line to turn in two crooked cops who were working with the fucking drug cartels. All the paperwork from the city and everything with that, and HR and everything from the EEO complaint was sent forward, and it was found that this was completely without merit because this was obviously a retaliation for him looking into their dealings. But the city did not close out the complaint. They did not complete the investigation. And because of that, he was told that he had an open investigation against him and that he was not going to be able to retire early and benefit from the $200,000 buyout program that the mayor touted as a way for officers who are reluctant to reform to go be the police somewhere else. Here's another headline that I want to show you. And it all kind of explains itself. This headline was Columbus Police Transfer Program drawing fewer outside officers than expected. What this is talking about the lateral transfer program that was just introduced by the Columbus Division of Police in 2022. For the first time ever, they were going to accept lateral transfers from other large departments so you don't have to go through the Columbus Division of Police Training Academy if you want to be a Columbus police officer. That has never happened. The division has never accepted lateral transfers before. The mayor and the city council and the safety director, they were all out in public giving speeches saying, you know what, we're going to have, I think they said they were going to have 50 officers from the lateral transfer program hired in June of 2022, and starting at a basically an abbreviated academy to get them out on the street as quick as possible so that they can get the number of officers on the street back up to the numbers that they were before the city started doing all these weird investigations into the police and encouraging police officers to leave. That transfer program is drawing fewer outside officers than expected. Are people watching this capable of understanding what's going on now? Maybe, just maybe, if you want to have a police department that is fully staffed with police officers and you want to have a long list of well-qualified applicants to this police department, maybe you should not treat your officers like crap. Maybe officers like Sergeant Laura Suber should be able to go through a long and spotless career and not have been screwed with in the last couple days of that career. If this is the way you treat the people who you choose to honor at OSU games and that are named Officer of the Month, if those officers are going to be treated this way, what do you think other police in the community are going to think? What do you think officers with the Columbus Division of Police are going to think? What is the message that you're sending? The message that you're sending is very clear. I think that's all I have to say about that. I'll talk to you guys later.